Hello, and this is Marlborough Law. This is our podcast number 13, I believe. I'm Karen Salmon. I'm one of the partners of the firm, and today I have Sophie with me, who is in the, I like to keep her in the family department, but she does go into other departments. And today we're going to talk to you about an interesting concept. We do a lot of divorce. That's what family lawyers do. But the last couple of weeks, I don't know whether it's spring or the warm weather, but everybody seems to be finding new partners, new love, and they're talking about moving in together.
Yes.
Still in proceedings. So we want to talk to you today about really, we don't want to spoil your fun, or we don't want to stop you getting on with your life, but we just want to advise you of the pitfalls of doing that, and talk about some of the cohabitating rules in the UK.
Definitely. So I think the first thing just to cover off is there's a myth going around we've heard on the street. Is there such a thing as a common law marriage?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No. So it doesn't matter how long. It used to be in the olden days, my common law wife, but there is no such thing.
Yeah, I think there is in other countries, I think, when I was researching, but that's where the confusion comes from, I think, but not in the UK.
Not in the UK, no. So it doesn't matter how long a couple have lived together, and they don't have the same legal rights, unfortunately, but they're not the same as civil partners or married couples. So it is a common misconception. So all of you out there who think you're living with your common law wife or husband, you're not.
Yeah, and it's really important to know where you stand. Obviously, if this myth is going round, you can, think you're protected when you're not. So what can cohabiting couples do to protect themselves from, in financial ways and
splitting up? I think the key thing is when you cohabitate, and if you unfortunately split up, the way you share the assets of the family is what's yours, and what's mine is mine.
Yeah.
So what's registered in my name is mine. What's registered in your name is yours. If we buy a house together, then we put it in joint names.
Yes.
Now, sometimes when people cohabitate, they move in with the other partner, and that partner might have their own house, and it's in their name.
Yeah.
But it's a good idea to get something like a deed of trust. Now, we've talked about deeds of trust before on properties, so that you register your interest, so that if anything does happen, at least you've registered your interest. Otherwise, you don't have an interest.
No, because cohabitants can't claim under tellata, and that's the marriage. Yeah.
They can claim it under if somebody dies, but we'll talk about that in a second. But it's definitely, it has to be your property, my property. So first of all, yes, plan living together.
Yeah.
And again, planning is your big thing, isn't it? We're always talking about planning. You're always talking about planning. Plan your cohabitation.
Yeah.
A cohabitation agreement is a big... Yes, and we talk about that a lot to couples who are clients who are just getting back to get divorced and moving on with their lives. It's really important to get some kind of agreement in place in case it all goes wrong.
Yeah, definitely. And wills, I think, as well, actually, because intestacy, they won't pass on to a cohabitant like it does a man and a wife. So, make sure you're leaving it to a specific. Or to your partner.
Yeah.
So, are there any legal remedies to help you if you split up with your cohabitant?
The quick answer is no. We can go to court and put a claim, but there's no automatic right to things like spousal maintenance, or support, or pension sharing. Yeah. So you can end up in court if you don't have a proper agreement. And people don't think they need a cohab agreement. It's not like a marriage certificate. They don't think they need a cohabitation agreement. And they're fairly simple to do.
Are they legally binding?
Yes, they are. Yeah, they didn't used to be.
Yeah.
But I think family courts now are more looking at the fact that they are legally binding. I mean, at the end of the day, there are contracts.
Yeah. And marriage rates are dropping.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they definitely are.
Yeah.
Definitely are. Yeah. And that obviously leads on to children as well. So, do cohabiting parents have the same right as children when they're split up? Well, parental rights is not based on your marital status. It's based on your parental responsibility for a child. So, everybody, if a father is named on a birth certificate, he has parental responsibility.
Yes.
And very quickly to explain that means the father and the mother, they have the rights to decide on health treatment and education. So the major things in life, that's your parental responsibility. The other things are obligations and responsibilities. So even if you split up with your cohabiting partner and you have children, you do have an obligation to house the children. You do not have a legal right to claim spousal maintenance from your partner who's leaving or left.
And I wanted to specifically talk about cohabiting partners whilst you're divorcing your ex, because we've had quite an influx of people doing that recently.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
where do we stand
with that? Because,
well, the thing is, if you're going through divorce and you're doing financial proceedings, one of the things that you have to disclose is your assets and your resources. Now, your resources can be your income, if you've got any pension income, if you've got any property that you rent out, any rental property. And most of the divorces now are looked at on a needs basis. Okay, so I need a house to live with the children. You need a house to live in where the children can come and visit. Okay, and then you work out how much money, etc. Everybody needs. However, if you move in with the billionaire down the road, okay, you don't need so much money because you have now got a house.
Yeah,
and that person is counted as a resource. So, which is why we strongly advise against it. Just because, get the finances sorted out. You don't want to be left with less money than you deserve out of your marriage because you've moved in with somebody else.
So there is definitely a risk of it affecting your divorce settlement.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
And it's not just moving in. It's not just somebody renting. A lot of people try to say, well, they're just renting a room. Well, fair enough, but you don't sleep with a lodger. You take the rent, and that's it.
And I was also thinking joint bank accounts. Surely that's a big thing. With you, obviously during the divorce process, you have to disclose all your finances. If they're going to see that you've got another person on your joint bank account, or it's not going to be an easy thing to get away with when you're going through a process like this.
No.
So
you're right, and if you're trying to get spousal maintenance, but your needs are being met by yourself and your new partner, then your needs are being met. You're not going to need so much from the other person, and it's difficult because the other person in the relationship may not want to disclose, and we have to ask. If you have moved in with a billionaire down the road, I'm going to ask where that money came from and what that person does. And they might not want to disclose that. Why? The answer is, why should I disclose that in your divorce proceedings? Because I'm not party to your divorce proceedings.
It could put a strain on a new relationship.
Exactly.
So, what should you be doing instead of cohabiting then? When you're going through divorce proceedings, just wait. I'm assuming.
Just wait. I mean, the odd night together. The courts aren't going to say because you have the odd night together, and you are in a romantic relationship. Sleepovers. That's fine. But don't move. Don't move your toothbrush and your wardrobe in. And join the bank account or go on the tenancy agreement. Just wait.
I mean, we understand obviously the need or the want to move on with your life, but if it's risking, everything that you're going through this for, then it's not worth it, really.
No, etc. So, I mean, we try to advise not just on the legal side, but on the going forward, because it's our job to make sure that couples that are separating and the family are provided for going forward. So that's where we come in. It's good advice.
Quick question. Does spousal maintenance stop then when you're cohabiting with a new partner?
Not necessarily. I mean, if you've agreed it and you've got a consent order, what we do in our consent orders is we tend to say that if you have been cohabitating for 6 months or you remarry then any maintenance or periodical payments will stop.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes we can put that in the consent order, because that's only fair.
Yeah, it is really.
Yeah.
Okay. So our advice is get a cohabitation agreement, or just don't cohabit until your divorce is finalised.
Yeah.
Yes.
And make a new will.
Yes, make a new will.
Definitely. Mm-hmm. So we hope that helps. If anybody wants to talk about it a little bit further and worry whether to press the button or cut that new key, just give us a call at Marlborough Law. Thanks very much.
Thank you.